Hey, Corey, it is so great to see you again. I really always enjoy talking with you, and you have so much value to add. For this series, I just put this together because I know how many people are really looking for guidance. And one of the things that my clients are asking me, and many coaches in my space are trying to figure out and help people with, is how do we prevent something like this from happening again? We can't obviously get in on the medical side and deal with virus protection and whatnot, but you know, we had 9/11, and then you have the Great Recession, and now you've got Corona. It seems whether it's every 10 years, every 20 years, something major happens that really disrupts the economy, disrupts our normative life. And if we can kind of like address in this conversation today, one key piece about what it is that you're seeing in the world and how you can help those who are watching, my audience, your audience, how you can help people like that to just be more, for lack of a better term, um, resilient moving forward. And specifically, what I want to talk to you about is the issue of mindset. We're going to get into that because to me, you're a master in understanding what mindset is and why mindset is so important for this. But I want to start a little bit smaller, just ask you a little bit about how Corona has changed your life. You could talk short term, and of course, if you're thinking bigger, which I know you always do, you can kind of expand this a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think, from a thought leadership and influencer perspective, and also from an entrepreneur perspective with my own company, I think there's a lot of opportunity coming out of this. And I think this is also, we talk a lot about innovator get left behind. This has really been an opportunity for companies to show what they're made of. And, we're all sick of these 1,000 emails a day telling us that life will never be the same and trying to scare us into doing business, and companies we haven't been customers of in a decade telling us that they miss us and how much they care about us. And people are trying to turn this into a sales opportunity. I think are going to be going out of business in the very near future. I think that people are really paying attention, but I think a lot of the companies that are just jumping into action and seeing how they can help profits to the side, the companies that are getting creative on ways not to let their workforce go, whether it's executives deferring bonuses or salaries to keep paying payroll, whatever it is. I think there's a smaller portion of companies that the world is seeing really, take this matter seriously and take things into their own hands. And so I think it's really formative. I think coming out of this, business will never quite be done the same. I think people that never would have ordered groceries or clothes online, that's become kind of a new way of doing business. So I think we're going to see a huge boom once again in e-commerce and things of that nature. But I think that the community has gone global. I think that is inevitable. I think that people and businesses that try to turn a blind eye to that are going to be left behind now more than ever. I think this has been an accelerant. But kind of to your more overarching question, what can we do in the future and how can this type of thing be mitigated? I think we just need to really do two things as a global community and as individuals. And the first one is we need to be very mindful of stress. Stress is a killer. People that got coronavirus and stressed out about it may have died when they might not have before. People that, you compromise your immune system. And we talk about mindset. If you expect bad things to happen, bad things do happen. So I think this is a real call to action for people to not tune into that fear-based mentality and the fear-mongering. But at the same time, I think it's time for people to really come together and humble ourselves enough to say that we need to start to go with the science. We need to start to go, with the collective consciousness and the hive mind. It was the people that, were really rebellious and going out and going to churches and conferences and things like that in the first few weeks where we knew it was a bad idea. It's the people that, are perpetually, at this point, we see people protesting, staying in right now. And if it's a few weeks and if we don't know if it's the right thing to do or not, but it very well might be, and it might save lives. I think that next time we just need to do that. We need to think about it more as a collective and less as individuals. And I think if we're not letting stress and fear play into it, but we're also not all coming up with our own ideas of what we should be doing, especially when a lot of people are ignorant to, how viruses are spread or ailments or illnesses and immune systems. And, I fall into that category as well. I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm going to listen to those that do. And I think if we don't let the fear and the stress overcome us, but we also are, kind of all of one accord, I think that this in the future, because you see the outbreaks, whether it's, bird flu and, all these things, but I think this one really did hit home because it spread really quickly. And I think that it could have been avoided to a degree, but we live in the future, not the past. And so I think we can learn a lot from this.
Yeah, you've said a lot there already, Cory, and I do appreciate it. You kind of covered three different questions in one, which is great because that simplifies things on my end. I heard it, talk in depth about the opportunity to innovate, that now we're in a special time. It is important, I think, everybody to ask yourself regularly, what is the opportunity here? Because for every downturn, for every crisis, some people say nobody's hiring or nobody's growing or the economy is failing. We use these global big terms to sort of pull everybody into the same equation. And the answer is not. The answer is no. There are industries that are booming. There are individual companies that are doing great. And even if their bottom line is not necessarily as healthy as it could be, but like you talked about, they're building culture, they're building purpose, they're building a sense of connection with their customers, with their clients, so that on the back end of this, they're stronger. They're more comfortable with each other, they're more flexible, they're more nimble, they're more capable of virtual work versus in-person work. So you hit on a bunch of things. The one thing I do want to go a little bit deeper with on the mindset front. First of all, you did mention stress, big deal. On my website, I now have a free stress ebook, Managing Workplace Stress is what it's called. That's available for anybody to go and download at impactfulcoaching.com. I'd like to say it's forward stress dash ebook. But separate from that, I'd like to talk about mindset a little bit broader, Cory, specific to what I think of as growth mindset versus fixed mindset. The idea that growth mindset means that I can grow. Fixed mindset means it's more about what I am, and I have to do the best in whether you say God made me or I've made myself over the years, but I don't have that same ability to grow and to transform and all of that. And so I know you touched on it because you talked about innovation. But to me, having a growth mindset is something we always want to be having, because you never know when the next disaster is around the corner. And the more that you have the capacity to adjust, to learn, and to constantly be tweaking with and implementing new things that are kind of like at the ready, so that when you need them, you have them. I think that that's something that can span, any period of time, boom or bust. What are your thoughts there?
So I look at things even one step further. I mean, we talk about growth mindset, lack mindset. For me, I'm really tuned in right now to this concept of where attention goes, energy flows. And so through that, we can almost look at this as expectation. I think those that expect to grow do the needful, right? And they find the growth opportunities. I think people that expect to be suppressed or held back or face adversity, those are really easy things to find if you're looking for them. So I really think that it's all about expectation right now. And I think I've seen this. I know people that have expected to lose family or get sick from the coronavirus, and they've lost family and got sick from the coronavirus. I know people that expected this to not impact their life, and it hasn't impacted their life. And I know people that expected to come out of this, 10x, and they're they're hitting every milestone, right? It's I think it was Henry Ford that said, it's something along, whether you're right or wrong, you're right, or whether you think you can or
Yeah,
you think
right.
you can't.
Yeah, the second one.
You're
That's
right.
Yeah.
It's really what are people expecting out of this? If people expect life to never be the same, and that's terrible, life will never be the same, right? And that's going to be terrible. For people to expect life to never be the same, and that's awesome, it's going to be awesome. So I think, looking to that growth, not as something you want to happen, but something that you are going to make happen. And just that expectation, that attention, that, I'm really big on vibration, frequency, all that as well. And I think, what you tune into is what you tend to receive, just like our old car radios, right? So I think growth mentality is, I love hearing people talk about it, but I think it's, beyond words, it's really just a mindset, like you said. So everything comes back to that mindset, right?
Yeah, that was a powerful piece, and actually answered another question which I was going to ask you, which was a final lesson. The idea of vibration, expect to grow, where you expect your outcomes, where you put your mind, those are critical pieces. Ultimately, as Viktor Frankl and others talk about, it's the gap between stimulus and response where all the magic happens. And if we choose the right kind of response, if we choose to frame our mind towards abundance, towards growth, towards giving, towards helping others, we will have that outcome boomerang in a positive way towards us as well. So, Cory, just a few minutes with you is always, even a few minutes with you, I should say, is always gold. I've really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for helping us to recession-proof our mindsets. And hopefully the next time we chat, we're all going to be talking about how everybody's out and about, enjoying life again to the fullest, and really experiencing and benefiting from all the growth that they have been nurturing throughout this difficult time.
I fully expect to see that as well. And then we can either edit this in, or this is not, this is unprompted, but I typically do videos with my books behind me. I only put my favorite books out here, and I am quite certain right here in the middle.
Ooh, I like that one.
This is a book I've read twice, and
Wow.
this is your book, and it sits right here on my bookcase. And so I encourage you, mentioned earlier, your free ebook about stress on the website. I think everybody should take advantage of that. I'm going to go take a look at that as well. But thanks for all you do as well. It was a delight to be with you today, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
You're an awesome friend, Cory, and a great resource. Everybody check out Cory's on every major and probably minor social media site, and he's got tons going on with Shedwood. Check him out. And really not only a great businessman, but a great thinker, leader, and friend. Thanks, Cory.
Thank you so much. Great to see you. Bye.